Hello students and hello parents and carers. Welcome to the student work area of our website. I'm Mr. Rashud and I'm the Vice Principal responsible for teaching and learning, and I'm just recording this short introduction to what's available in the student work area and also a bit about our approach to teaching and learning at the Academy. Now, as with any of the information on the website or that you've come across via social media channels, if you have any questions, please contact us at the Academy and we're more than happy to give you a call or an email back. Now, our approach is definitely to develop students' skills, their knowledge and their understanding in all of their subjects, and to develop that over time. Now, our approach really looks to maximise what students can remember and what they can demonstrate in terms of their understanding in all of their subjects. In the next couple of slides, I'm going to run you through typical lessons and units of work so you can have a flavour about what to expect during your time at the Academy. Now, this diagram I'm going to talk through at each stage to give you a bit of a flavour on what teachers are doing and what students are doing in the Academy. So in every subject, students will receive knowledge organisers. These are really useful documents and they provide an overview of all of the topics that students will do in a year. So any topic is accompanied by this and they're really useful for using in lessons and at home. Teachers plan really carefully what students are teaching, and we plan things in a way to structure students' learning. We want to make sure that the learning you're doing at the moment builds on learning from the past and builds towards learning in the future. So there's a really clear learning journey and pathway in each subject where knowledge and understanding builds on what students have done before. Every topic as well has a vocabulary list, so you know the key words and their definitions for each of the topics you're going to study within each subject. All lessons start with a do it now task, and these are questions that require students to recall work that they've done previously. That work is a mixture of work they've done the previous lesson and work from previous topics, and we call that interleaving. And that's really useful because students are required to remember what they've done previously and apply it to the work they're doing at the moment, and it also gets them to retrieve it so that they're constantly using it, and that allows them to remember it more. So by constantly doing that and revisiting previous work, students' memory is developed and students can remember that work that they've done previously. Students also get lots of feedback in their lessons. After doing a do it now task, students will be provided with the answers which they can check. They'll be given feedback from previous lessons. They might have done assessed pieces or some of our big write activities, which is where students write extensively about a particular topic. And teachers will give students feedback by something we call whole class feedback, where students will be given information about where they can improve their work and they'll be given the opportunity to do it. We start our lessons with a common lesson slide as well, and there's just an example there provided for you on the screen, and we think that's really important too. So if you look on the left, the example here is from a geography weather hazards lesson. It has a list of all the lessons for that topic, and in this case all of the lessons that students have done already are highlighted in blue. The current lesson is highlighted in yellow, and then the future lessons are there in white that students will come on to study. And then the lesson at the moment, in this case the Tropical Storm Haiyan case study, is broken down into the things that students will do in that lesson. Then any keywords for the lesson are identified, the subject specific keywords we call them, and what students will do is students will physically write those down in their books and teachers will write them on the board as well. And there will be a key part of the lesson, developing students' vocabulary and their specific vocabulary in each of their subjects. We also put on there the topics, the lessons within the topic as well, so students can see their journey and see what they've studied in the topic, what they're doing in the lesson, and what they're going on to study over the forthcoming weeks. So when students have used their knowledge organiser, when they have done a retrieval quiz at the start, a do it now task, and when students have been made aware of what they're studying for the lesson, the teacher will teach students about the lesson topic. So I'll put an example here from the geography lesson as well. So In this case, how is a cliff eroded? And the teacher will use diagrams, they will use information on the board, they will use their expertise to share with students information and knowledge and understanding about the subject. And we call that the I do phase of the lesson, where the teacher will demonstrate and share their expertise with students. Then, during the we do phase of our lessons, teachers will support the students in doing an activity and completing work that's based on the lesson content. So in this case, it might be annotating a diagram about cliff erosion. And teachers will circulate around the room, supporting students, asking them questions, sharing good examples of work, and providing structures and supports for students to complete activities with the teacher. Then, during the you do phase of our lessons, students work independently, putting into practice what they've covered during the I do and the we do phases of lessons. So in this case, a student might write an explanation of how a cliff erodes. So the teacher will have shared with them during the I do how the cliff is eroded and practice something with the students during the we do phase. And then during the you do phase, students have the opportunity to put into practice what they've learned. We base this on Rosenshine's principles of instructions if you just wanted to investigate those further. Then, at the end of the lesson, we review what students have learned through a variety of different ways. This might be mini quizzing, it might be different forms of assessments, it might be big write activities where we're looking at those and giving students feedback on them. But we use a variety of strategies during and at the end of the lesson to review the work that students have undertaken. And we follow this structure because we think it's the best way for students to develop their long-term memory and to develop that subject expertise, and that's those subject skills and that subject knowledge and understanding. Now, here's an example of something I thought would be useful as well to show you in practice. It's just an example from a history book of a typical lesson. You can see in the blue arrow there that the do it now task is at the top. That's the interleave task at the top, where students have been asked some questions about the previous lesson and the previous topic. Then in the green, the students written down the keywords for the lesson. And in the red, there's the particular activity they're doing, and the students written out a question. Also, it's quite useful there to show you in the yellow, the students have been highlighting that key vocabulary that they're developing in their lessons. Then in the purple, at the end of the lesson, there's been a review quiz where students, in this case, have looked at their spelling of their key vocabulary. In this case, the student has got 3 of the 4 correct, and the one they haven't, in the cream, sort of salmon coloured arrow, they've just written those out again. So they're really consolidating that knowledge and that understanding and that accuracy in the vocabulary that they are using. Now, just to finish off this brief introduction to the student work area, there are lots of other things available in this area. If you just click on further, you'll see boxes like this. There's a section on homework where I've recorded a separate video. There's a section on knowledge organisers where you can get links to all the knowledge organisers we use, how to set up and use Microsoft Teams. And then underneath there's links to all the different platforms we use, from Microsoft Teams to Heggerty Maths, to Sparks, to Bedrock and Seneca and so on. And they take you direct to there. Okay, so I hope you found that useful, and as I mentioned at the start, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me at the Academy, and I'd love to call you back and discuss further our provision. Thank you.